Welcome back. Do you have stacks of pictures, artwork, and mementos stored away because you just don't know where to put them? With a little design help, they can all play nice together to form what's called a gallery wall. Here with more, please welcome celebrity interior designer, Abby Vasek. Good morning. Okay, so you say every room needs to have like that focal point. When you walk in and you go, okay, this is where your eye is drawn,
It's
right?
so soothing if you just give me that focal point, draw my eye to it, and then I can slowly take in the rest of the room. Otherwise, which happens a lot of times, I walk into people's homes, and the reason it doesn't feel right is that everything is sort of spread out. There's no punch, and then a breath.
If you have a fireplace, that's oftentimes the focal point. You know it right away. But the rest of the rooms don't.
A lot of rooms do have that architectural focal point that says, this is your focal point. It makes it very clear.
This is
sad.
Yeah.
Okay. See, we're just kind of spread out. There's no relationship between the picture and
look at that one.
Talk about a focal point.
Yeah.
So what they did here is they knew they had a focal point, so they embellished it. Oh, wow. I love this. Easiest way to create a focal point is with a large-scale piece of artwork, which we don't all have access to all the time. So we're going to talk about what do we do with smaller pieces to create that one large unit? It's basically creating one piece out of a lot of small pieces. There we created a focal wall. You drew my eye in there with that pop of color.
Yeah, which we used to call the accent wall, so now we call it the focal wall.
Okay. You know, same thing, new name.
Yeah. It's your focal wall there. All right, so obviously different ways to do that. Through the collection of pictures, we said, like the natural things like your fireplace or a color, okay? So creating your own focal point. So as I mentioned earlier, sometimes we have just a bunch of pictures that are just, they don't like really mix with each other.
Oh, no, they don't mix, or I'm out of wall space because I've just got to,
stuff that doesn't matter. All right, so creating a focal point, you can have an art collector's story, for example.
Let me tell you a perfect story about, I was working for this client recently, and he's an art collector, and so, I mean, it never ends. It's a lot of us. We have collections, right? And we don't plan on stopping collecting anytime soon, do we?
I think that's called hoarding at some point.
Fine line, right? And so anyways, for the wife, she had a very clean, modern aesthetic, and so it was driving her nuts that every single wall was plastered with artwork. There was no more room, according to her, there was no more room for him to ever buy another piece of artwork. And for him, it became this real point of tension for both of them. Neither of them were happy. And so what we found was that by culling a lot of the artwork together to make these dramatic focal points, we could really open up more wall space, and ultimately he could continue collecting, and she got that nice, more clean and modern aesthetic. Here we are working in the house.
So you really planned it, you mapped it out.
We mapped it out, and this is one of the things we're going to talk about today. So just mapping it out on the wall, every single one of these.
And really your whole wall becomes a piece of art, because what's great about this is that a lot of times what we'll do is put maybe one or two pictures up and that's it. But here, you planned it all out, and that becomes a new wall.
Floor to ceiling. I call this like we're wallpapering the wall with our art. But key ingredient here is that if you were to look across, and I think we'll have a picture in a minute, to the other side of the room, clean and clear.
Calm. Yeah.
I need that breath to go, okay, and then on to the next.
The other part of mapping it out is that, look right here.
Okay, so this is a part of the room, another part of the room, which again, there's some busyness on the shelf, but then see how that extends to the end of the wall?
Right, and it's consistent too.
Intentionally, nothing on the end of that thing. He had, stuff going all the way to the end. We had to clear that off, and here's the wall adjacent to that gallery wall.
Very simple.
Simple. Something sculptural, 2 sculptural pieces, an entry buffet, done.
And we're going to actually show people in a second. But the other thing, too, is what I did, one of my focal walls, I think we have a couple of pictures here, is I had a theme in terms of what it was. So it's hard to see right here.
But
this was our trip to England. And so I was on purpose taking these pictures. And my husband's going, what are you taking pictures of? But it was like just little architectural pieces. You can see a little bit closer there. There's a church that we were at.
Cool.
There's the town square.
Zoomed in on that and got the detail.
Yeah. And so I do there. And then this is over my mom's. I got her piano, which is not really part of my decor in my house. But I ended up taking some pages out of her music books that she had back in the 1920s. And so what's framed in there are pieces of music. So you didn't have to go get great art, but it fit the whole motif right there.
And you know what I like about that too is that artwork had such a relationship to your painting there. Not in 2 ways, with content, and then also the way you hung that so close down to that fireplace. I think some of those pictures we saw earlier, the problem was that the painting didn't have a relationship to the furniture that was below it. We need to kind of get in closer than you sync. You know, bring it on in, bring it on in.
Yeah. And then making sure that your frames kind of can talk to each other, so they're kind of in the same. I had different shapes on that other picture, but they were the same color scheme, basically.
I love that. That was a way to like keep it all together.
Yeah, because I learned from you.
You're so good. I learned from you.
And Abby's sticking around because we're going to answer some design issue questions when we come back, and then get to mapping out things here.
Oh, fun.